the menu and setup of your PARD Pantera 256Q right now on Pirate Firearms and Reloading. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to go through all the menu and settings of the PARD Pantera 256Q. I am not going to go over a couple of them like the zeroing. That will come in the final video where I'll actually show you, me shooting it, doing the one-shot zero system, etc. Now, on that, I've already had it out to the range, but I had a little bit of frustration. In the first video, you would have seen I was going to mount this in a spur quick detach mount. What ended up happening is because that mount is a 6mm or roughly 20 MOA canted mount, I could not get the PARD Pantera to zero at 50 meters on my 22. It's 22 long rifle. So I have gone back to PARD and I've actually asked them two questions. One, my favorite reticle in the system is the Christmas tree style reticle with the holdovers. I've asked them what unit that reticle is in, but I've also asked how much internal adjustment is in there. Now, I've become a little bit frustrated with their customer care, and I'm not sure whether it's a language barrier, whether it's just maybe the representative not, quite up to date with this product. I know the product is not super new, but it is still pretty new. And the other thing is maybe they just have made this up and there's no actual, real world comparison, which would be a little bit pointless putting a Christmas tree reticle in if it actually meant nothing. So I've asked, is it mils or MOA? And I haven't got a great response so far, so I'm going to continue pushing PARD to ask them this question. There is nothing in any literature anywhere that I can see. The representative I've been communicating with said that there's plus or minus 128 of vertical adjustment, but they couldn't tell me what that actually meant. Yep, I can grab the menu as well and I can dial up plus 128 and minus 120. Doesn't actually mean anything. There is a possibility, I guess, that is pixel, but surely they have a rough idea of how much that equates to. So just keep that in mind. If you are going to put this on a 22, I would suggest a zero cant mount. I have gone ahead and picked up PARD's own MT5, which is a quick detachable one-piece mount. Interestingly enough, it's the exact same height as the rings that they provide you, and it's also the exact same height as the spur mounts that I have. So a little bit of a bonus there. If I swap between optics, I don't actually have to change the cheek riser height. Not that that's that difficult, but it's just one less thing to worry about. So I will also do a bit of review of that MT5 in the final video as well. So as it stands now, I see one more video in this series probably. That being said, let's dive into the menu and some of the settings, and I'll talk you through those. This probably is not the most interesting video in the world, but I haven't found a really good demo through the menu anywhere online, so I'm going to make one. Here we go. Okay, so first thing to come up in the menu is image settings. You'll notice data A right here in the top. That's because you can preset these based on your shooting profile. If you look down in the bottom left where the little man is with the A, I'm in profile A currently. So this is the image settings based on profile A. So this also allows you to change the default thermal color palette right down here at the bottom, and you can see it's currently on Sky. Sky is my personal favorite at this stage. Obviously these are between 0 and 100. Detail I've sort of played with but never really liked any of the changes, so I've just left it back at the default. So we'll press the back button and we will go into the next one. Shutter mode, leave this one in auto. You don't want to be playing around with this thing when you're trying to actually use it. Just let it do its own thing. It's perfectly fine. Next one, scenes. So this is your city, rain, and forest. You can quick access this by holding down the color palette button, which is the front one on the ocular belt. So you can obviously flick between those based on where you are. To be honest with you, city, rain and forest, rain and fog and forest sometimes don't necessarily work the best in the environment they're describing, shall we say. I've found that the city one kind of works better in my eyes anyway. Next one, super resolution. I strongly suggest you leave this on. Yes, it will sacrifice some of your battery life, but as you would have seen in my previous video, super resolution makes a big difference to the image and your ability to identify something. So, interestingly, there is a range unit selection in here, but what I have noted is it doesn't do anything. So this model obviously does not have a rangefinder nor ballistic solver in it. So this is obviously just left over from another optic, and they've just taken the same software. Reticle adjustment, I will show you the zeroing process now that I've got this new mount in the next and probably final video. I won't do it now, but basically once you enter the X and Y, what it will do is freeze the image and allow you to basically place the reticle on top of the impact spots. So that's the whole one-shot zero thing. It seems to work pretty well from what I can tell, as long as you have enough adjustment. Let's go into the reticle styles now. So I'm going to go back to zero. So this is your basic reticle, probably more than sufficient for most people. Style 1 is my preference, with the Christmas tree style with the holdovers. Like I said, still waiting on some confirmation from PARD as to what the numbers actually mean. Two's quite good as well. It gives you a sort of larger aiming point, with still some small subtensions on it. I think if you're in a hurry, those subtensions probably just disappear from your eyes. This one, definitely not a fan of. I don't even know what you're going to call that. And that one's quite good too if you're just doing, point and shoot type stuff. And then back to my favorite one. We'll also go down here to the color options. I find one works well, but red seems to be a little bit washed out in my eyes. I struggle to read the numbers on the subtension, and in fact, I think I'm even missing dots when I go to red, and that's just my eyes. Green seems to work pretty well, and yellow works well as well, but white is definitely my preference. Brightness of the display, you're going to need to use this one a fair bit. Obviously, if you are out doing pest control in the dark, you're going to want to drop the brightness right down. So we'll go down to 0 and gets fairly dim. I'm assuming that this is coming through on the video. And when you're out, during the day, zeroing the optic or at the range, 5 and 6 are going to become quite important. So now we're going to flick over to the other menus and go through here. The first one here is gyroscope. This allows you to calibrate the gyroscope. Basically, you just move it around. I'm not going to do it because mine's already set up, but I'm sort of leaning downwards as in the down arrow indicating 36, 35. So that's because I'm sitting at my desk looking down through this optic. If I come back up to level, that will obviously go out to, 0 or 1. Same if I tilt the optic over, the cant one will adjust. Now you'll notice the menu just timed out. There is an option to change that around in the settings as well. As we go back to other menus, we have self-activated recording. So basically this is recoil only, and you can adjust the sensitivity on that, probably based on your caliber, and not getting nuisance, recording. I guess it's probably better that it records too much than not enough at the end of the day. Your auto power off menu, I've taken mine out to 30 minutes because if I'm walking around a farm or other such location doing pest control, I don't want this thing turning off on me all the time. So 1 minute and 10 minutes is definitely short. I would love to see an option to actually just customize that yourself, but they give you 3 options. I've put it out to 30. Right, the next one, record settings. Ironically, this is what I'm using now. So it records just a constant video. As you can see up the top, we're up to 6 minutes 40 now. You can set that in little groups if you want smaller files to transfer, if you're just looking for something in particular. So yeah, completely up to you on that one. Next one, date stamp. So basically turning the date stamp on or off. So there's off. We're going to leave that on. Next one, obviously Wi-Fi, turning that on or off. That allows you to connect it to a phone or a tablet so other people can see, maybe what you're looking at, what you're aiming at, etc. Or you can transfer videos and actually play with the settings too. With the new PARD Vision 2 app, you can actually play with a lot of the settings on there as well, which is quite convenient. Language, obviously, self-explanatory. Setting the date and time, once again, fairly self-explanatory. You can change the date format. Down here in New Zealand, we use day, month, year, as you can see how I have it set up. You can format the internal memory. If you've got too many videos, you want to get rid of them, etc., you can do that. pixel compensation. So this is if the sensor has a blind pixel or an issue. You can basically set this up to compensate. Hopefully you never need that. Menu display, so you can actually change where the menu sits. Oh, sorry, this is your timer. You notice mine timed out a little too quickly, so I'm actually going to change mine to 1 minute, and I did that by holding down the top turret. Default setting, self-explanatory as well, just set it back to the factory default. Firmware update, be very careful if you want to do this. PARD does provide a good set of instructions if you do need to do a firmware version, so you can actually see the version of the firmware and confirm whether you do need an update or not. Right, this is the layout, so this allows you, once again, this is set based on profile, but you can actually move your bar around the place. So let's put it on the top for a second, or the right hand side. I definitely prefer it on the bottom, so I'm just going to leave it there. And you can also add and remove some of the information. So let's say we want to take the time away from the menu bar. The time just disappears back. So you can play with that as much as you like. You can now also tell it whether you want the picture-in-picture to come up by default when you turn it on in Profile A. I don't, because all you have to do is hold the top turret to get the picture-in-picture on and off. Hot track, so this highlights the hottest thing within the screen. Largely unnecessary in my opinion. And then back to gyroscope. Sorry, on a side note too, the gyroscope and compass calibration are all in one. So now I'm going to go through some of the other little features just accessed by the buttons. So the one that I used to start this recording is holding down the middle button on the ocular. So by holding down the middle button on the ocular, that starts and stops the recording. If you tap it, it simply the front button on the ocular will change between your color palettes, and if you hold it, it will change between your different scenes. So you can see the little scene symbols folding in the bottom. Then I just give it a single tap and it will go through the different. Obviously I'm sitting at my desk, so nothing exciting to see. If I double tap the turret button, I get my picture-in-picture reticle, and then my zoom is done purely in the picture-in-picture window, and the main image stays at 1x. Once again, double tap that, and and in order to adjust the zoom, I'm simply just turning that top turret. If you hold the rearmost button, you turn the Wi-Fi on and off, and if you tap it once, nothing will happen because we have the units turned off and we do not have a ballistic solver built in. So that's the basics of the menu. I hope that makes sense to you. Yes, I will do a video on zeroing as part of the final review when I get this thing zeroed up on my next range visit. Until next time, happy shooting. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. And if you found this video helpful, please share it with your friends. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below. Catch you next time.